Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's been a little bit, but I got sort of caught up with school and Christmas and everything. But hopefully I'll be back. Starting off the new year, I'm going to be showing you guys how I paint the gaiters on my cadians, the little leather things that cover their boots, and also how I go about painting black areas. So that includes the boots and really any other like weapon casings, anything else. To begin with the base coats, I first make a 2-to-1 mixture of Steel Legion Drab and Rhinoxide. Mix those two on the wet palette, and I do just a rough base coat on everything. Normally, I have to do at least 2 to 3 layers because Steel Legion Drab and Rhinoxide aren't the most opaque colors in the world, but they're not the worst. My next step is a shade with Rhinoxide, and I normally just do this like maybe 2 parts water to 1 part paint. I generally wash this into all the recesses. I like to use Rhinoxide just because it's a warm color. It fits with the leather sort of feeling. But you could honestly use just bare black, any black you wanted, as long as you thin it down enough. The next step I go about is doing a pretty thick edge highlight, initial stage edge highlight of just pure Steel Legion Drab. I tend to make my mixtures kind of thick with not even diluting it that much, just because I want it to be pretty quick and pretty opaque on the first pass. This step is then followed by a pure highlight of just Carrick Stone. This one's a finer highlight, and I tend to do the same thing with not diluting Carrick Stone as much, because again, it's not that opaque, and I want to get this done quickly and with the first pass. This is the point at which I personally stop doing further highlights. You can dot the edges with white or a light bright color to make the edges, those even finer reflections, but personally, for speed, I don't do that. To begin work with the boots, I first do a full base coat of Abaddon Black. This step is relatively quick. You can use a pretty large brush, and just remember to keep your paint smooth and to not build up too much texture. This would also be a good time if you really wanted to. You could base coat all the parts that would eventually be metallic. The black base coat provides, honestly, it modifies the color of the silver that you use. It makes it deeper and, like, honestly prettier, but it also sort of creates a black line around the edges, so the wash doesn't have to do as much for defining the actual shapes. I personally think for rank and file troops, it's not worth the time investment, but for some of your characters, that might be something you look into. My recipe for black has sort of changed over the years, but right now I sort of generally start off with a dark gray, almost like leaning on like a black gray, and then I build up from there. So in this instance, I'm using a 50-50 mix of Dawnstone and Abaddon Black as my first layer. This is then followed up by an even finer edge highlight of Dawnstone. Using your highlight in the base mix generally allows it to sort of mesh together a little better, and I find that even if my base coat, my first edge highlight is a little messy, the fine edge highlight of Dawnstone will sort of cover it up. It'll hide a lot of those mistakes. If you really want to, you can go past this with a third edge highlight, something like Administratum Gray would work, or you could just mix in white into Dawnstone and use that brighter color. If you That's really for people that are doing characters. And then finally, if you really wanted to, again, you could do like a little dot of white on the corners. When I sat down to edit, I honestly forgot that I had the metallics in this tutorial as well. So I guess we'll be doing that. Fun little surprise. My metallic of choice is AK Natural Steel. The AK line of metals is great, and they have a very fine pigment, and the paints as well are just very smooth. This one in particular, Natural Steel, is a bit brighter than Lead Belcher, but I don't find it matters that much, and with just a wash of like Nuln Oil or a black wash, it'll cut it right back down, look great. This next step is pretty straightforward. You're just base coating all the things that would be metallic. Uh, Guard models in particular have a lot of little greeblies and crap on them, so make sure you're getting everything. So belt buckles, the little buckles on like the gaiters, the little like dots, uh, the the fasteners on a lot of the guns and the leather. There are little tin cans you can paint metallic if you're lazy. Um, they're everywhere. So just make sure you do a very thorough search on the model and make sure you got everything before you move on. That's essentially it. The only last step to do is to wash everything with Nuln Oil, and essentially that's it. I don't really edge highlight my metallics because I'm aiming for speed on these guys, and the metallics provide good enough of a reflection anyways, so I don't really care too much. The only recipe left for the Cadians that I have to go over at some point is the gun. I'll probably do that in a future video. Look out for that. Anyways, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, do whatever you want. I will hopefully try to be better about making more videos on stuff, so leave comments on what you want to see. Maybe it'll give me some more inspiration and more desire to keep doing this. Anyways, thank you. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.